So our app contains 5 activities now, but they're not all connected. When we open our app, we see the main activity, but there's no way to open the numbers activity from there. So let's figure out the missing pieces on how to open a new activity when a category is clicked on. So first, we need to know when a user clicks on a certain category. Then, we need to learn how to send an intent to open an activity within our app. So if you remember from the last course, we learned about handling button clicks on the Submit button in the Just Java app. So we can apply what we learned there. Now let's start by making the numbers category work. So in the activity_main.xml file, this is where the numbers category is defined in our app. In Android, any view, and this is not just buttons, remember that buttons are a subclass of view, any view can be configured to respond to touch input. And I found it easier to define these as text views and then style the views to look like the design mocks. Now, I can add the onClick attribute on this text view XML element, just like we did on the Submit button from the last course. I can set the value to be openNumbersList, which tells Android to call the function openNumbersList when this text view is touched. Note that we haven't implemented this function yet, so let's head over to the main activity.java file and do exactly that. In the main activity file, I create this new method called openNumbersList. It needs to be a public method, have a void return value, meaning that it returns nothing, and I have one input parameter, which will be view. If you're wondering how I know what to write, check the documentation for the Android onClick attribute in the instructor notes below. Alright, so the openNumbersList method will get called when the numbers category view is clicked on or touched. This means that all the lines of code inside this method will get executed. So this covers step 1 of handling the user click. Now I'm going to let you figure out step 2, which involves figuring out the code that goes inside the openNumbersList method, so we can set an intent to open the numbers activity. Don't worry about the other categories for now. Alright, so when you're done, your app should look like this. Clicking on the numbers category takes you to the numbers activity. And it's expected that the other categories don't work yet. That will come in later coding steps. If you need a hint on how to accomplish this, check out the notes below the image quiz.